Diamond, Executive Platinum, Platinum, Emerald, Sapphire, and Ruby if those words are written.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome back Lee Harris. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Ria. Yeah, it's been a busy week, and we're ready to go again.
Yeah, well, I have to mention that Crew Travel is brought to you weekly by Blue Marine Travel, who haven't lost a passenger since Lee Harris was born back in the late 1900s. And of course, their people move people. So another busy week of travel, Lee. What's going on for Turkish nationals? Not some great news there.
Yeah, big news for them as well. The majority of Turkish nationals who need to transit through the Netherlands Amsterdam airport en route to their destination country, which is outside the European Union and Schengen area, now need to obtain a transit Schengen visa beforehand. This rule came into effect as from December the 1st this year. The move was announced in a statement issued by the Dutch government. Transit Schengen visas, for people who don't know, are issued by an embassy or consulate of any of the Schengen area member countries to the nationals of specific countries who need to transit one of the EU airports in order to reach their non-EU Schengen destination country, in this case by the Dutch authorities in Turkey to Turkish nationals. Turkish citizens could transit the international airport zone of the Schiphol airport without needing a transit or Schengen visa. However, as from the first day of this month, this all changed, and Turkish nationals are no longer allowed to board a plane that will have a stopover at Amsterdam airport if they have not obtained a Dutch transit visa beforehand. With everything, there are several categories of people who are exempt, such as those who already have a valid Schengen visa or a long-term visa issued by the countries in the EU and Schengen area, as well as visas that entitle them to travel to Canada, the United States, or Japan.
EU is getting really tough on its borders, eh?
They are indeed at the moment, yeah, really, really strict. So when it doesn't look like it's going to ease off, it looks like it's going to go the other way. So it's interesting times for a lot of people.
Guaranteed. What's going on over at Qantas?
Yeah, good news for Australian crew looking to travel to the Caribbean is yesterday Qantas launched the world's fourth longest flight by connecting Melbourne Airport to Dallas Fort Worth. This is a first for any airline. Now, before yesterday, Melburnians, I think is the correct term for people from Melbourne, wanting to fly with Qantas to Dallas needed to go via Sydney, which has a direct Dallas Fort Worth service, or through the Qantas hub at Los Angeles International Airport. Qantas Executive Manager of Sales, Stephen Thompson, launched a new route by saying it will satisfy a lot of pent-up demand for direct travel between Melbourne and the United States. This is the 8th new international route launched by Qantas since Australia's borders reopened, and the second for Melbourne. That follows the launch of the direct flight to Delhi. The airline which will be operating is the 787, and the configuration is just 236 seats en route, so not quite so many, with 42 in business, 28 in premium economy, and 166 in normal economy.
Great news, great news. And this next one is something that I just can't even wrap my head around. Sanctions on Aeroflot. It's ridiculous.
It is completely and utterly baffling, to be honest with you. But anyway, Aeroflot, Russia's flagship airline, announced yesterday that it is no longer offering in-flight entertainment following sanctions from Western companies. Aeroflot posted a statement on their Telegram channel stating that foreign companies stopped providing streaming services. The airline claimed the disruption was only going to be temporary, and it would be good for passengers to do a digital detox that will let them take a nap or read a book during its flights. Aeroflot said it is working on a domestic solution to the problem.
They are only in Russia, right? They don't fly outside of Russia.
They do fly out. There are some international flights, not many, but there are a few still operating anyway.
I don't know. It's just so strange. Anyway, it's Monday. I probably haven't had enough coffee to really assimilate the information, to be honest with you. And another strange thing happening with air travel, France has now announced a ban on domestic flights, or some flights.
Indeed, yeah. So the EU has approved France's ban on select short-haul domestic flights with a few stipulations. The European Commission has released its official decision regarding France's ban on short-haul flights. The EU executive have confirmed the French ban to be legal. The confirmation is contingent on the ban lasting for a period of 3 years. Now, the EU's decision to support the ban came after continuous infighting within the EU and the French aviation industry. The ban prohibits domestic scheduled flights within France from being operated if an alternative means of transportation, specifically by train, is available and can be completed in under 2.5 hours. The argument for banning these flights has been spearheaded by climate change activists and political figures in favour of reducing carbon emissions. When the ban was first imposed in 2021, it would restrict 8 routes across France. This recent decision from the EU to approve the prohibition has clarified that an existing rail route capable of transporting the same amount of passengers between the same locations that the airline route in question does must be in place for the air route to be prohibited under the ban. This basically, the decision limits the ban scope from 8 routes, which they originally wanted to do, down to only 3. The other routes that were previously limited by the ban may later be prohibited as rail systems improve and networks expand.
I'm sure it cost them about 3 billion euros in order to come to the decision to ban 3 flights in France.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of sense and economic sense that have gone into this. I'm, absolutely positive of it.
Yeah, and the amount of money that went into the whole thought process, they probably could have improved the internal structure of transit like tenfold.
Yeah. Oh, indeed. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of ways around it, but there we go. If it's saving the climate, hey, who are we to say anything?
Of course, the final thing, it wouldn't be complete, our travel show, without a little strike action at Heathrow with Christmas coming up.
Indeed, it's our favourite, isn't it, at the moment? Strike action at Heathrow. But anyway, a warning of pre-Christmas flight delays at Heathrow has been issued as ground handlers prepare to strike in a pay dispute. Surprise, surprise. The threatened action involves 350 workers employed by Menzies who plan to walk out for 72 hours from 4 a.m. on December the 16th. The Unite Union warned of disruption, delays and cancellations for flights from Heathrow terminals 2, 3 and 4. The action will particularly affect Air Canada, American Airlines, Lufthansa, Swiss, TAP Air Portugal, Austrian Airlines, Qantas, Egypt Air, Aer Lingus and Finnair, according to the union. A previous strike last month caused considerable disruption across Heathrow, Unite claims. The union described the approach to pay negotiations for the Menzies ground handlers as being at odds with the approach taken to the company's cargo workers who were initially part of the dispute.
What do I always say?
Pay your people.
Damn straight. You pay your people, you're going to have a good workforce. They're going to stick with you for a very long time. You're going to save a lot of money and time in retraining, rehiring, et cetera, Just pay them so that they can live and are happy to come to work.
It's the thing. It's not rocket science, is it? It's basic. Surely, it's just the basic fundamentals of business.
No wonder we're having a global crisis. The world's gone nuts. Lee, I have to say thank you very much, and no thanks for, the strike action at Heathrow again. It's all your fault. I'm just going to lay it on your shoulders.
Oh, I always like to give good news at the end.
I know. I have to mention again that Crew Travel is brought to you by Blue Marine Travel. We haven't lost a passenger since Lee Harris was born back in the late 1900s. And of course, their people move people. We'll see you again here next week, Lee.
Indeed. Yep. I won't miss it for the world.
Nice. My name is Ria. I have been your host. We'll see you again next week.